to Daybreak, the show that brings you what you need to think about as you begin the day. And being February 19th, 2019, you know for sure that the term of the National Land Commission is coming to an end. They have been in office since 2013. Karibu sana, Abigael Mbagaya, the Vice Chairperson of the National Land Commission.
Thank you.
How do you feel coming to the end of the term?
We feel good, we feel great. We feel that we've been able to go through our term. We've done that which we were appointed to do.
Okay.
And we feel good about it.
Okay, you feel good about it. Of course, you can contribute to the discussion. On Twitter, we have a question that we're asking you. Did NLC deliver the promise? Did NLC deliver the promise? You can vote online. It's live. We'll be looking at some of the feedback that you'll be sharing. So far, 94% are saying no. 6% are saying yes.
I think maybe the 94 are saying no is because maybe they're talking from a position of ignorance. Because if you look at it and ask yourself, what was the mandate of the National Land Commission? Did the National Land Commission achieve its mandate? Those are the questions you begin to ask yourself. And I want to put it this way. Keeping in mind that the National Land Commission, being the pioneer commission, we had a duty. The first duty we had was to establish the institution called National Land Commission. So of course time will be spent in establishing an institution that will carry on or perform the land reform agenda. So we started by implementing the institution. I'm proud to say we have the institution in place. Secondly, we had to look at the legislation. Remember that we had a new constitution 2010. Then we had new land laws 2012. Now, it required that we do regulations under those new land laws in order to, the regulations were necessary for the better carrying out of the law. And also in issues whereby we had these issues of separation between ourselves and the Ministry of Lands, we needed the law and the regulations to be very clear. We had to create new laws. We had to create the Community Land Act. We had to propose laws for the Historical Land Injustices Act. We had to create laws for propose laws for the Evictions and Settlement Act. So we had to put the legislative framework in order so as to be able to propel land reform, because the law is important in propelling the land reform agenda. Because land reform must be carried out within the provisions of the law. And so you can see we did that. Okay. Now, then after that, we have to find a way. How do we bring services closer to the people? We had a new constitutional dispensation that was pushing for devolution. Then we had devolution now. We had to devolve. We devolved our services to the counties. And this are now, like I'm saying, people don't know, people have not been reading our reports, people don't see what we have done, but we've devolved.
But the challenge that many Kenyans face is that despite the mandate that has been given to the National Land Commission in accordance with the law, unfortunately, the stories they hear are the controversies. And for instance, and I'll take you back to that story of Roraka land, because I covered your press conference with the chairman, Mohamed Suzuri, when he was defending that decision. I just want to hear from you as the Vice Chairperson of the National Land Commission. Was the decision to pay Roraka land the right decision to make? Do you still believe that was private land that deserves to be paid for?
What I would like to say is that the issue of the Roraka Land Commission is a matter before court, where the commission is a party, where I think the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is a party, the DPP is a party. I would not really like to delve into the merits or demerits of the matter, because it's a matter that's actively before court.
That's right.
But I would like to answer the question this way. Just know that the National Land Commission has no information, has no land record of its own. The National Land Commission has never created a record. What the National Land Commission has done is that when it comes to office, it relies on information that is with the national government. For example, when we want to know the ownership of a piece of land, we must write to who? To the Chief Land Registrar to give us a search. When we want to know the survey record, we must go to the Director of Surveys. When we want to look at the correspondence file, we must go to the Ministry of Lands. So the Commission has no record really of its own. It must rely on records that have been created from time immemorial to look at it and inform its decisions.
Even as we await the decision of the court on that, and I don't want to go into the merits, as you said, or the merits, you leave office today, so do you still stand with what you decided on Roraka land as a commission?
I think like I said, let me leave it to the courts to decide. I would strongly, let us leave for the courts to decide, because there are a lot of issues that have been canvassed in court already. Let us leave it to the court to decide, because we are parties to the suit as a commission. Okay, all right. And of course, we will recall that there has been several constructions that go to do with the national government projects in the country. Yes. Starting with the standard gauge railway, and you have been very involved in making assessments and declaring that compensation needs to be done. Yes. As you look at all that, there has been claims of irregular payouts for land that was not supposed to be paid for wrong people that were identified to be paid and are actually paid.
How much of your work do you think was not the right compensation that you paid out?
Actually, what people are not saying is, what about the right things that we did? Under compulsory acquisition. It is a function of the National Land Commission to carry out compulsory acquisition on behalf of national county governments for infrastructure development. We have delivered the SGR from Nairobi to Mombasa, the corridor. We've delivered the corridor from here to Suswa. We've delivered the roads, the dams. We are, if you look at the entire Agenda 4, we are an enabler supporting Agenda 4 to ensure that activities or the developments of government continue. What people are not talking about is about the good that we have done. Instead, people choose to focus on the little mistakes that are there. I can tell you.
Do you know why?
Let me explain something. It is possible that because of the scale and the magnitude of the compensation, for example, when you're doing 500 kilometers from Nairobi to Mombasa and you're valuing a property one by one, it is possible there can be a mistake here and there. But largely, I can assure you, we've done what is right. What people are also not telling you is about the savings we've made. Because in some cases where people are claiming compulsory acquisition, we revoked their titles and they were never paid. Okay. Because already some of them were sitting on public land.
Are there specific cases that you had paid out and then you realized there was a mistake and you have recalled that payment?
To the best of my knowledge, one.
One?
Yes. I think one where we had made a decision that it be recalled. Okay. And then before we could get to the bottom of it, then this is a matter that is also again before court, whereby some of my colleagues were arrested. So
when you talk about the challenges that you faced, that you have faced, because you're still in office today, the challenges that you faced, I know there are several cases in court, including that case involving your chair, Mohamed Sozuri, and the Kenya Railways land. How possible was it? How easy was it to determine whether a certain land is public, this is private, and making a decision to making the right decision to pay or not to pay?
Because what I can tell you is that if you remember, under the National Land Commission Act, the Commission had a mandate to review grants and dispositions on public land to determine their legality or propriety. But this was upon receiving a complaint from an individual or on our own volition. So in many cases, we received complaints, particularly where there were double ownerships, multiple ownerships, or even sometimes on our own volition when our valuers are on the ground and they would suspect this doesn't look proper. Okay. And they would ask us to review the grants and dispositions on those public lands. And as you are aware, you know that we revoked a lot of titles. We've recovered a lot of public lands in wrong hands. We were able to revoke titles of people even who are claiming compensation. We revoked their titles because when we looked at it and we felt that they should not be paid, we were able to revoke their titles and would not pay them for the compensation. Okay. So you see, what we revoked and didn't pay is much more than maybe the one or two little mistakes that maybe could have passed through. But like I said, the mere scale of the entire route and the speed at which some of these things have to be done without exposing the government to further demurrage charges by the contractor who is normally already on site working. So these little mistakes can happen here and there, but largely we've done the right thing.
And talking of mistakes, your chairperson at some point was taken before court. Yes. And he had to leave office. Yes. Then you took over as the acting chairperson. Is that so?
Yes, I did. I stepped in as because the law says, if you look at the National Land Commission Act Schedule 4, it says in the absence of the chair, the vice chair shall chair. And this was not new. The chairman had been away, maybe traveling, attending to other national duties, and always in his absence, I always chaired meetings. It was not anything new. In this case where the court of law has asked that he should not be in office, what was expected of us?
I want to look at what the law says in as far as picking, or rather removing a chairperson from office. Let me just find it. And because now the information we have is that as soon as the chairperson was taken before court and asked not to report, you took over and started steering the commission. A person, the vacancy of a chairperson or member is when the holder dies. The holder by notice in writing addressed to the president resigns from office. The holder is convicted of a felony. The holder is absent from 3 consecutive meetings of the commission without justifiable cause. Or the chair is removed from office under any circumstances specified in Article 251 of the Constitution. So which part did you follow?
I think what you're looking at, why don't you look at, you're looking at the constitutional provisions on
I'm looking at the
National Land Commission Act. I want to take you to Schedule 4. Can you open Schedule 4? Let's look at Schedule 4. What Schedule 4 says.
As I look
Schedule 4 says, in the absence of the chair, the vice chair shall chair. And in this case, the chairman had been made absent. We were not trying to remove him from office. Absolutely not. The chairman had been charged in a court of law. The court had directed. It is a court that gave an order of the court. It was an order of the court that said the chairman shall not interact or interfere with the prosecution witnesses who are in office. 7 of us commissioners are prosecution witnesses. So in this case, we are just obeying an order of the court. And you know that all of us must are bound by the rule of law. We must obey the court order. So there is nothing that we've not tried to remove our chairman from office. Anyway, I cannot do that. Okay. But the order of the court removed him and stopped him from interacting with 7 of us. So if 7 of us are prosecution witnesses, will we close the commission? Absolutely not. We must ensure that the commission must continue.
You are prosecution witnesses, and I don't want to focus on the merits or demerits of the case. But what does that mean? Why are you having a united commission, or it was the chair versus the rest?
It was never like that. I think, as you know, that we started the commission very well in 2013. We worked together until that August morning when they were arrested. And that is when the court gave an order. Now, if you have an order of the court, you must obey the order of the court. Otherwise, we work very well with our chairman.
You to be witnesses?
We are prosecution witnesses. We wrote statements, and we are aware that we are already prosecution witnesses. No, they've already been charged in court, and 7 of us commissioners wrote statements, and we are prosecution witnesses. No,
what I'm asking is, because when you are a witness against an accused person, it means there are certain things that you think went wrong, they did wrong. So that's what I'm asking. Why are you running a united commission, and what broke the unity?
There is no unity broken. I think people are misunderstanding this. The commission is going on. The commission has been working. The fact that the chairman was arrested and there's a court order preventing him from interacting with us does not mean that the rest of us are not united. The commission has to continue, and it has continued, and it has functioned as we wait for the court for our day in court. Yes.
What has been your relationship with the chair?
The chairman was even my teacher at undergraduate.
Okay.
The land economics that I practiced at the commission, he was my teacher. So I have a lot of respect for him. And we worked absolutely very well together, and all of us, and I'm talking not only on my own behalf, even on behalf of my colleagues, we worked very together for the better part of we worked very well together. It is this order of the court that we must obey.
Obeying the
and we have
order.
Nothing against our chair, absolutely, nothing at all.
Nothing against the chair,
nothing.
Despite the fact that you are prosecution witnesses. Now, let me focus on one of the latest decisions that you have made, and that is to do with the KCAA land, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority land, that now is occupied by Weston Hotel. And that decision was made under your leadership.
Yes, it was.
And it said that Weston Hotel can keep the land, but there has to be a mechanism of those who sold it to Weston to compensate KCAA. Why did you make that decision?
I think we must look at how we arrive at our decisions. Decisions of the commission are made by the commission sitting in quorum. And we weigh each case on its own merit, and we determine what kind of treatment can we give this particular case that is before us. When we looked at the Kenya Civil Aviation case, I think you all agree, we agree that definitely the land had been reserved for the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. It was agreed that the land was illegally and irregularly allocated. We agreed that somebody called Monene Investment had been given the land. We agreed that then he sold it to Weston. We agreed that that was illegal and irregular. Then we looked at us, because like I said, and I think I talked about this a little bit earlier, and I said that we looked at the issues. But we have also other properties that are before us. People are seeking regularization. And these properties, most of them are in the Upper Hill area. And you can look at how Upper Hill is. That Upper Hill area, if you don't know, I can see you're a very young man. That was all railway lands and government land. Most of it illegally acquired, illegally allocated, or irregularly allocated. And we asked ourselves as a commission, if we are going to look at these cases, all of them, so we must treat each case on its own merit and see how are we going to handle some of these ills, these injustices that have been committed on the people of Kenya. And when you looked at the Historical Injustices Act, Section 15 of the NLC Act, now expanded under the Miscellaneous Amendments Act 2016, it says that there are many ways of addressing a historical injustice. You can do restitution. You can do restoration if it is possible. You can do an apology. There are many ways. So we need to begin to look at these things. And that's what land reform is all about. We must begin to look at other ways of resolving land disputes. So as a commission, we sat back and said, if we give this treatment to Weston, can we carry the same treatment everywhere across to Upper Hill and everybody else? We said absolutely not. But what can we do to make sure that the people of Kenya do not lose or have not lost?
But the question, the Vice Chair, that Kenyans have been asking, in this country, the past few months, we have seen land that is built on riparian land. It is demolished through the Nairobi Regeneration Program.
Thank you.
There are several lands that are occupied by the wrong people that you have taken back.
And I can explain, and I want to tell you, that's what I was telling you.
Let me just ask the question
yes.
first. So here we have a situation of a Weston Hotel, and the complexity comes that it is affiliated with the Deputy President of this country. How do you justify to Kenyans that there is no political influence in arriving at such a decision as a commission?
First of all, I want to say this. Absolutely no. How would there be political influence when you're telling somebody to pay restitution to the people of Kenya at the current open market value? To enable Kenya Civil Aviation Authority buy a land of similar size and value in the same neighborhood.
Who will make that payment?
He must do it.
Who?
The Weston Hotel.
The Weston or the person who sold to
You
Weston?
see, for us who is on the ground is Weston. If Weston must restitute. If he wants, he can go after the people who sold him. That's what we are doing. Because what is happening, can we start going for the people who are located initially? We go to the people who are on the ground, let them who got in the transaction, look, chase the people who are behind them. For example, we catch you, then you say, oh, I was sold by so-and-so. You return because it's you we've caught on the ground. You go and chase whoever else who sold to you, isn't it, to recover your money, and so on. Let's follow the wrong road that way.
For the record, how much should Weston Hotel pay?
We are carrying out, we have asked for a valuation to be carried out at the open market, but we directed that it is open market current value as at today's date. So we've asked for a valuation, which we'll share. I know people are talking about the 350 million. That was not a decision. That was not the figure that we had given. We are waiting for our evaluation report and we'll share it.
So when should that be done?
I think by today I should have my report and communicate before I leave, because I think people are interested to know what the open market value is.
So today you are committing to the nation that there will be a report
absolutely
on how much Weston Hotel has to pay
open market value they should pay. And I want to talk something about the riparian lands and something. And this is what I was telling you. Each property must be treated in its own right. For example, if you are on top of a road, you're on top of a road. Where will we take the road if we leave you there? Are we together? For example, let's look at Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal, what he did, he had this piece of land that was good over here. The next piece of land was a road reserve acquired in 1967. He decides to amalgamate the two pieces of land, the road and his piece of land, and builds on both. So we tell him, no, leave the road alone, isn't it? We cancel the amalgamation, leave the road and retain your piece. Now, how will you leave the road and the house, the building is on the road? Okay, let us look at Taj Mahal, the South End, though we are not involved. South End, before he built, we told him that is riparian land. And he was building across the river. Across the river. We told him you cannot do that because you're blocking the drainage. And you see, the Constitution says that the fragile ecosystem areas, riparian lands are fragile ecosystem areas. Because you see, by blocking that channel, you're going to cause flooding. When the water comes, there'll be flooding that can happen somewhere, either upstream or whichever way, because the water will not flow. So we look at each property in its own right.
I want us to listen to what Professor Mohamed Suzuru had to say on this show when he came on the 30th of January 2019 about that decision by yourselves on the land that is currently occupied by Weston Hotel. Do you have that up, Sam?
I was not privy to the discussion that went on. Even the person who signed that decision is not me.
Who should sign?
I'm the one who should sign. But the person who signed is the vice chair.
Right, and there's another one where the chairperson, I asked him over the place of the document that contains your ruling. If we have that. Chairman, let me ask you, this document, because it carries that decision, what is its place in law?
Well, if you ask me, I can say it is not procedural, if you ask me in law. But people have their own perceptions, so they have their views. So what I can do.
You have any recourse? You're out on 19th of February. Is there anything you can do about it to regularize?
No. First of all, I will have to get the proceedings, which I asked. I think yesterday, after I saw it on Tuesday, I asked for the proceedings, and then after that, I will see what we can do with the rest of the commission. Because after that, there is another step. It has to go to the Kenya Gazette.
He raises a few issues, and first is that he's the one who is supposed to sign decisions of the commission. His signature is not on it, so you'll tell me about that. Secondly, he says that he was going to ask for the proceedings. Did he, and did you supply them, and has he applied his mind and made a decision on that?
I think I want to answer this question this way. Abigail is not the commission. The vice chairperson is not the commission. The chairman Professor Zuri is not the commission. The commission have at least 5 members of the commission sitting in quorum, either under the chairmanship of the chair, in the absence of the chair, the vice chair. And better still, under good corporate governance, if both of us are absent, our colleagues, we are 9 of us, can elect one of them to chair the meeting, and they will make decisions. So let us get this right. For example, when I communicate, I only communicate the decisions of the commission. When the chairman communicates, he's supposed to communicate the decisions of the commission. And like I said, it's unfortunate that he's out on an order of the court that has barred him from being in office. So when he's out of office and cannot interact with the 7 of us, so which commission meeting can he call? Which decisions can he make? It is the decisions of the commission. Unfortunately, it's not, none of us is, as an individual, is the commission.
Did he ask for the proceedings?
At least he has not asked me. I'm not aware that he has not asked me, but the position, we have asked our director legal because the proceedings are there. We normally do Hansard recording, and they are there, and they are available. Okay. Yes.
So what happens with this decision? You're saying that you're doing the review, or the, what do you call it? Valuation, yes. And then you have a report after this. So what should follow? He speaks of gazettement of the decision. Is that so? And when is it done?
The gazettements, we normally produce gazette notices to talk to this, to give the decisions of the commission. And in this case, I want to be very clear. We were proceeding under Section 6 of the NLC Act. Section NLC, where we carry out inquiries, we give recommendations. Section 14 of the NLC Act, where we used to have power to revoke title, expired in 2017, and we are not using that anymore. So we are now using a new dispensation because we applied for the extension of the mandate to revoke title, we didn't get. But now we are proceeding under Section 6, and we've given our recommendation.
You've given your recommendations.
Yes.
Okay, I want to focus on something else. That, sometimes towards the end of January, the Director of Public Prosecutions issued an order stopping the payouts for compensation for land of SGR Phase 2.
Yes.
The figure that was floated that time was about 10 billion shillings. Did you stop the payments?
Yes, we did stop the payments to give them time to investigate. And I want to put this a little bit correct. The SGR Phase 2, where the total amount of money we have received as a commission is 17.4 billion. I think by the time we were getting the stop order, we had paid more than 10.2 billion. Yeah, slightly more than 10, up to around approximately
10.2 billion.
10.2 billion. We already paid 10.2 billion or slightly more than that.
Okay.
So when you go, so those people have already been paid. So we have about the 7.2 or so with us in the commission.
Right.
And we have stopped because we want on the directions of the DPP and DSCC to allow them to carry out their work. They have a mandate to perform, they have a duty to perform, and we must allow them to do that.
And around that time, there's a story that came through with an audio recording, understandably, a conversation between a consultant and the owners of Clarence Matheni Leadership Training Institute. There's land that they have had compensation processed, and that recording sort of was talking about how to help this institution secure payouts from the Land Commission. Just what is the place of kickbacks in these middlemen in securing payments from NLC?
You see what you're telling me is also what I was seeing on the TV. The way you are seeing it is the way I was also seeing the same.
That's what I'm asking you the question.
What I want to say,
right.
The Commission has systems, we have policies, we have procedures that are very clear on how we carry out compulsory acquisition. Why Kenyans would choose to start engaging or having discussions with people out there that are not officers of the Commission, it is difficult to understand. The Commission officers are there and they are available. The Commissioners are also available. Come and have the discussion with officers of the Commission. So now when you're having discussions with people who are not officers of the Commission, what are we supposed to do?
But
on functions that are 100% functions of the Commission.
I'm sure you have been reading that story. And
yes.
You know the gentleman by the name Melahi Janda? Janda, if I get the spelling, the pronunciation correct?
Oh yes, I know, because when the matter came up and the cases were going on, we had a meeting in my office and I met them at the church.
So who is he within the National Commission?
No, he's not an employee of the Commission. That I can tell you for sure. He's not an employee. He's not one of our employees. We've never recruited anybody by that name.
And so when he comes out and says that he's representing the chairperson in certain conversations, I'm struggling to understand. What is the place of this intervention?
For me, I think that conversation should be treated with the contempt that it deserves, because he's not an employee of the Commission, and I wouldn't know how we would be getting around to begin to have discussions on issues that concern the commission. Yeah.
Okay, and of course you can join the conversation on Twitter as Citizen TV Kenya Tsamgitu. The hashtag to use is Daybreak. I want to take a look at what you've been saying online. Of course, you can also call us on 0719 777 if you have any questions for the Vice Chairperson of the National Land Commission who is leaving office today. I want to look at what you're saying on Twitter. We asked you whether you think that NLC has delivered the promise. The poll results so far showing that still 94% feel that you did not, 6% feel yes you did. So let me say this question, that the NLC is out to defend themselves now, but despite their mandate, the commission went out politicking and making a kill out of the land sales. So there's that tag that your commission has been labeled, that you are out to get kickbacks. You see when I look at this and understand, and I wonder, because first of all, the commission has no land of its own. The commission is a manager of public land on behalf of national and county government. So which land is this we are selling? NLC has no land of its own. And like I said, I think that the people are talking from positions of ignorance. People are not reading the law. They don't know what the mandate of the commission is. They're sitting somewhere and imagining, oh, this land question, you know, people have made money from land, so NLC must be making money from land. NLC has no land of its own. We are simply managers of public land on behalf of national government and county government. Right. So when people say, which land are we selling? We have none. Even to allocate, we have no land to allocate. Because unless our master, the owner of the land, tells you, allocate this land to so and so, there's nothing we can do. We only manage and ensure that the operations of the land, the way the land is being managed is sound. Okay. On February 4th, 2019, one of the dailies in the country published a story that wanted that the directors of NLC wanted yourself investigated. And you wanted you investigated for breach of the Constitution, abusing the powers, exposing the Commission to public liability, and for propagating institutional crisis. If this be the case that NLC has been doing, how much of responsibility would you take? Actually, what I want to say is that I wonder where they're talking from, and I would like to know which directors these are. Because as a commission, the commission is intact. And I can tell you something. People don't like order. People do not like order. That is something I found. When you try to put order and say that let us follow the law, let us do things the right way, many people don't like that. People like to be in fluid situations. So if implementing the law is, there's no constitutional crisis just because we've implemented the law. Because they're saying... And this matters. And by the way, and some of these directors have gone to court, and some of them already have criminal cases in court against them. Some of them, with their contracts expired, we asked them to reapply, they did not reapply. So what are we supposed to do? We let you go, isn't it? So we have absolutely nothing against anybody, really. And they are talking also again from a position of ignorance. So as for you, the employment of 21 officers was not illegal? We have no 21 officers employed. What we did, and you know, that's what I'm saying, people are talking from a position of ignorance. These 21 officers has been investigated even by the ESCC, even the DPP, we've given notice. What happened is, when the SGR came and the contractor is going on the ground, you can imagine the paperwork. We are doing the kilometers from kilometer 0 to Suswa. We want all the paperwork in order. We took 21 interns. We are calling them project interns, and they're on a 6-month contract. Is that employment? They're not even getting, they're getting just an intern salary that we normally give of 30,000 shillings. That is what they are getting to help us put the paperwork and the records in order. Because you can imagine, if you look at that entire route, how much is the paperwork? And imagine every landowner must bring their document, their land document, their searches, their claims. If they have court cases, all that must be filed and kept properly. So people are talking from positions of ignorance. They're actually interns, project interns, purely assisting us for this 6-month period, so as we can deliver the SGR Phase 2 corridor. Okay, all right. We'll shortly be looking at the process of now picking new commissioners, if we'll have those slides shortly. But before I do that, so now today is your last day. How is it looking like? What is the schedule, so that now when you wake up on February 20th, you will no longer be a commissioner of the National Commission? Thank you. Today, I think first I came here to talk a little bit about of course, what NLC is, and you've not asked me what we have achieved and what we feel what we have achieved and our challenges, but I can tell you... That was actually my first question. We have achieved a lot. So we are feeling elated today. So today I came here to talk about what the Commission has done. And then secondly,
Today, I'm also going to Parliament to help my commission defend its budget, because we must make sure that the Secretariat is running and continuing to perform its functions, awaiting the incoming commissioners. On top of that, I think I have a commissioner attending a meeting. I have a commissioner attending a meeting at the Deputy President's office on infrastructure development. Then after that, we have our last meeting together this afternoon.
Okay.
And then we'll be done. And then after that, I think our CEO is buying us dinner.
Oh, in exclusion of the chairperson?
No, he's invited, absolutely. He's free to come. Why
no,
not?
I'm talking about the meeting, not the dinner.
The meeting...
you said we will have a final meeting today.
If he wants to attend, nobody's stopping him. Nobody has stopped him. How can he be invited and he's the chair of the commission?
No, but you're the one chairing the meeting.
He is the chair of the commission. He's invited. Remember, we have that court order. So it's him to decide what to do with the court order and attend the meeting.
Okay. I want us to look at what? The process of picking new commissioners. The graphics that we have that, of course, now the term expires today on the February 19th, and the chairperson and the commissioners vacate office, 9 of them. Then after that, the president is supposed to, yes, exactly that, chairman and commissioners vacate office, and then after that, the president is supposed to pick a selection panel within 14 days of that vacancy, and the membership of the panel should constitute of a nominee of the office of the president, representative of the Lands Cabinet Secretary, 2 nominees of the NGOs Council, 1 nominee of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and 1 nominee of the Association of Professional Societies in East Africa, as well as a nominee from the National Gender Commission. So after that, the recruitment process will take this form, that the panel, once constituted and the Public Service Commission facilitates the first meeting, the panel should invite applications from Kenyans, qualified Kenyans, within 7 days. Then the panel should shortlist applicants 21 days after closing the window of application. And then after that, the panel must conduct interviews. The panel will pick 2 persons for a chairperson and 6 persons for commissioners. So that now that list is forwarded to the president. And then once the president receives that list, he will pick a chairperson and 8 commissioners that will constitute the National Land Commission, and that should happen within 14 days. After doing that, then the president has to forward those names. Remember, out of 2 nominees for chairpersons, 16 nominees for members, the president picks 1 chairperson, 8 members, forwards that list to the National Assembly. The National Assembly must consider the nominees within 21 days, and then the Speaker will communicate the decision. Should the National Assembly decide that we don't want any commissioner, they must communicate within 3 days. If they agree that these can be commissioners and chair, then they have to communicate the decision to the president within 7 days, and after that the president will appoint the commission within a period of 7 days. Should he not make that announcement of appointment, then 21 days later, by law, those officials or those nominees will have been assumed to have been appointed and take the oath of office to continue the work of the National Land Commission. So you're looking at a couple of months before you can find a successor. What do you think, as you leave, should be the first thing, the first agenda of the new commissioners that come through?
Of course, like the new commissioners coming on board, of course, they have a lot on their plate. I can tell them that we have left a lot of public land still in wrong hands. We have a lot of illegally acquired public land still in the wrong hands. Hundreds and hundreds of titles. We only scratch the surface. What we recovered is simply the surface. So they need to come and begin, continue the process of recovery of illegally acquired public land. Something else they'll find on their plate, of course, that is very urgent is they will find historical injustice claims. The other day I had somebody saying, oh, the commissioner's not even done historical injustices, oh, they've not done this. So talking from a position of ignorance again, we've addressed the historical injustices from when we got the law from 2016. No, we received, you know, the law came into place in 2016.
Right.
Between 2016 and now, we have received 510 cases. We have listened to 215, determined 135. The others in between, we found that they did not have a valid claim. So they still have a lot to come and continue to build on. Then, of course, they will find that they also have a lot of, they still have to do quite a bit on institutional building, because we are still operating, we only have 440 staff out of a staff establishment of about 1,065. So there are a lot of, they need to get more staff into position.
What did you say?
Budget allowed
440?
For about 440 staff in the commission right now.
Out of?
A staff establishment approved about 1,060. Approximately thereabout. So you can see they still, there are more jobs within the commission that, in order to enable us perform the way we are supposed to perform. And then, of course, continue to strengthen the institution to move forward. But they are finding a solid National Land Commission. We are leaving the commission in good hands. We have our acting CEO called Kabale Tache, supported by Mr. Bor, who is the acting deputy secretary. They're in good hands. They are going to hold the fort at the commission until the new commissioners come. Okay,
all right. Let's take a look at the poll results. That on Twitter we asked you whether you think whether NLC, the National Land Commission, delivered the promise. The poll results are out. 94% no, 6% yes. Any regrets for you?
For me, what I think, the more I look at it, is this way. Most people are talking from a position of ignorance. Many people don't read land law. You'll be surprised that even the people who get conned in land matters are professors, are people who... So people don't read land law. They don't even know what the mandate of the commission is. They're talking from... But if they took time to read the mandate, look at what we have done, look at our exit report, they'll be surprised at how much we have achieved.
All right, so let's look at some tweets. This is Majao says that instead commissioners went out there to cut deals. They made a kill. God save Kenya from corrupt individuals. Another one, another tweet. This is who? This is Maurice Peters says that the vice chair of the commission should realize that people focus more on their fall because they outweigh their strides. And the last one, this is who? Lazaro Fundi. Big no. Kwani unauliza kitu unaona. So he's responding to the question whether NLC really achieved the attained the promise. So thank you so much, Vice Chair Abigael Mbagaya, and wish you well. So after this, what next?
I will take a break, rest, before I see what next I'm going to do. But I'm a professional. I'm available to consult. I'm available to serve the people of Kenya in any capacity.
Okay, in any capacity that you find. So thank you so much for making time for us on Daybreak.
Thank you.
Daybreak takes a short break, but we return with that conversation on Engage. We're talking about